Welcome to Show Sunday. Today I showed my Tara and also Julie. Say hi, Julie.
A row.
The first three episodes of Arcane. In other words, the first third part, whatever. Um, and right after we finished these three parts, the three episodes, everyone else kind of went into this discussion that I'll admit I did not see coming, and I completely disagree with everything you said. So that was why I stayed silent during that conversation because it was
Yeah, no, I'm
unexpected.
like I can hear him seething.
I'm not mad. I'm just again, I'm surprised. I'm surprised you interpreted it that way. So,
Okay.
okay, so the issue
Um,
that the issue well here, does someone want to basically restate what you were talking about right before we started
okay,
this?
okay. I'll restate it. So wait, do we want to do a spoiler-free session first? Because what the thing that we discussed, it's a pretty
I guess since Valen said go into this blind, if you haven't watched this, goodbye.
yeah.
Hmm.
Um, you'll find out what we're watching next Monday later.
Yeah, my recommendation for this is to go in with as little information as possible. Um, which I wonder if you did pick up on something there at the end, but I will save that also for the end. But anyway,
I'm not
um,
sure. Well,
Uh,
anyway, if you haven't watched this, goodbye.
yeah.
uh, I guess actually before that, um, do we want to say what we did know about Arcane or about the characters or anything? Because I do know a little bit.
League of Legends, and I think one of our friends showed us the character trailer for Vi or something.
Yeah. I was gonna bring that up. So when League of, I think when she was first introduced in League of Legends, they dropped a trailer video for both Vi and then later Jinx.
Okay,
So
I don't
when they
remember that
said,
one.
so when they said Jinx, I was like, oh,
The
this
kid is
the
Jinx.
kid
Hmm.
is Jinx. Because I remembered the trailer that we watched, like I think back in high school or something. So
Mhm.
I was like, and then I remembered her whole thing and everything. And I was like, oh, she even has a braid and she has like little doohickey things. So I was like, okay, I know that she becomes Jinx. I didn't remember too much about Vi.
All I knew is that she had big gauntlets and she
Mm,
hits things,
yeah. And
which she does.
I think I think that friend used to main Jinx or Vi. I don't remember.
One of them, I
One
don't
of them.
remember.
Anyway, so that's what I knew. So I picked up on that as soon as Milo said Jinx. I was like, I know which characters these are supposed to be for now.
Mm.
It's
Yeah. So
after that point I was trying to figure out what who like everyone else was supposed to be, but I
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out.
I knew one sentence going into this, besides again, of course, that it's League of Legends or whatever, um, and that was I heard it's quote the origin story of Jinx. Okay,
Mhm.
and simply knowing
Oh,
that already kind of like it doesn't. Again, I'm not gonna say it ruins it, but the fact that like I don't know. The fact that I already kind of was basically so as soon as I see that and I see oh here's a kid who has blue hair, I'm like okay, right, like that was my immediate reaction. And so but of course the question is well how, right, because personality
Yeah.
wise it's not the same really at all. But yeah, so that was really all that I knew going into it. Again, I know a few other characters who are in League, but none of the other characters show up in the show that I know. So
okay.
Yeah.
um and again, when I say I know them, I mean like I know their name and what they look like, and like that's it.
Mm.
So, um, yeah, but I didn't know anything else, and so that's also the advantage because like a fair amount of people they've told me, for example, reading comments from videos or whatever, where people who do know more of the characters, they do recognize some of the people, and so
Oh,
it's one of those things where
okay.
like if you know, you kind of therefore kind of automatically know who's important. Whereas
I
from
Mm,
see.
our perspective of not knowing, you don't really know who is important, right? Which
Yeah.
like
mm-hmm.
to me I think is almost a benefit, because for example, going back to what happens at the end of episode three, uh, the fucking kids die, which like
Yeah.
didn't see that coming. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Me neither.
yeah, so like yeah, he's like, okay, apparently they're not someone. Yeah, so it I don't know. It's to me okay. Here was my standpoint. I heard it was really good. That you don't need to watch League or don't need to play League to get it. And I was like, okay, sure, I'll watch it. And so I know, first episode, I was like, okay, it visually looks very nice.
Mm.
And it's got a bit of style to it. All right, cool, I'm down. Second episode, more of the same. Okay, kind of curious to see where it's going. All right, it seems to be getting somewhere. Third episode, especially the ending, I'm like, holy fuck, I love this now. Because I'll be honest, that whole ending thing I love it. I think it's extra. I think it's not just the emotion angle, but to me, again, so the not really argument, but what you guys are talking about is saying that basically it was really frustrating about what happened and why the characters made the decisions that they did. That's sort of kind of what it boiled down to, from what I gathered. And I agree that it is frustrating, but to me, given the fact that they both are teenagers at this point, Jinx especially, or Powder being from maybe even like 10 or 12 or something, um in the fact that, because to me the idea was that Powder was so excited because she was like, oh my god, my thing worked for the first time. And it was like, yeah, it worked, and even though it worked, it still fucked everything up, even more so than everything else. So to me, that's the idea that like she would be even more irrational in that sense, in her emotional breakdown, because of that. And I will say the whole thing about like, oh, of course she's going to go with the creepy guy who's like obviously a bad person. I mean, again, it's sort of like it's a kid lashing out in the moment, and I will say you kind of see where that goes as you continue watching. So it's maybe not
I,
quite as straightforward as you think as you're seeing it.
I guess to clarify, I I can't say for the other two, but at least from my standpoint, I was more so thinking of it from having a sibling that I am very close to. I don't think that would have gone the way that it did, even when we were around the same ages and stuff. In terms of by leaving her behind in that moment, and then also like the fact that she disobeyed her sister to do that and everything. I think, and then I think the very last line that she said kind of took me. I'm not saying that I don't like the show or anything like that. I'm just saying that that took me out of it, kind of.
Well, okay, so the thing also about like her kind of Vi like leaving her behind, to me again I see it as like, again, she's really pissed in the moment and she's like basically does stumble away, but to me at least, especially when she sees like, Silco kind of standing over her at the end, she's like, "Oh fuck, I really fucked this up. I got to go back to her like now." And that's when of course the enforcer guy kind of comes up and is like, "No, he's going to murder you." And like, see, it's kind of, I think basically it's implied that he like chloroforms her, though it's not super clear, but um yeah, so like that's how I see it. Is it was basically like, and you could say this is kind of convenient storytelling, but basically both are extremely emotional and lashed out in the wrong way that they should have. And again, logically, if everything was left to its own devices, they probably would have come back together very shortly afterwards. But they were both sort of scooped up by two completely different people at just that exact moment. So I don't know. That's how I see it. Again, to be fair, I don't have a sibling, so if that's my angle of it. But I don't know. Again, personally, I don't have an issue with it feeling like, that they did like I don't know what the right word is, but like I personally, again, I can't say that like, no, especially not, again, I didn't expect any of you to say anything like this. But now that you've kind of made your point, I guess I can understand your point. I just don't agree with it.
That's fine.
I mean, I have seen I guess like the angle that I'm looking at this at is the it's not my fault. I can see that as like a child's response, but I can
Mm.
also, I usually understand that a little bit more if it's also mixed in with you were manipulated to do something, because that's something that does happen where it's like someone who is weaker or vulnerable is like usually they do something, but then when something goes wrong, they backpedal and they're like, oh, it's not my fault. And I usually have a hard time sympathizing with that unless that person was manipulated by another person. I think that just comes with like the fact that I grew up with entitled people, and like kind of abandoning responsibility just really bothers me. So I think I would have needed a little bit more time to understand like Powder's perspective in order for me to sympathize with her feeling like, oh my God, I don't know how to respond to this. So I can only think that it's not my fault because, like, for example, like if it was more clear that she thought that since Vi always took the fall for her, then she doesn't feel like she has to take responsibility for things, maybe I would understand. But I think right now, like, this first part was more from Vi's perspective.
That's true too.
So I can see things a lot more from her side where she's under a lot of pressure because she kind of wants to be like more grown up. She wants to fight, but she also like wants to protect her family, and she also is trying to at the same time like help her dad, but now her dad is dead. Now she has to become the
even
adult.
before that, she saw her parents die and everything, and in that moment she kind of realized everything is going to change for them, and then now again everything is going to change for them. And
so I think like I personally understand Vi's perspective a little bit better because everything just collapsed onto her again and she lost everything again. So I guess maybe that's why I at least sympathize more with her side a bit more.
I do too. I think the line that took me out of it was when she said Vi left me, and I was like, everything that we have seen thus far proves otherwise for that.
Mm-hmm.
So to say that your sister left you and abandoned you and that she's not your sister anymore, that kind of took me out of it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what got me too at the very end, was just like, because I think what I was getting at was more just like, because I mean, the show does such a good job of like portraying things very realistically, like at least for the first few parts, just like people getting frustrated, people getting angry, people living in shitty situations, people who like try to rise above it a little bit. But like, and everybody grows in their own way. The only one who doesn't seem to grow at all is Powder. And then at the very end, oh my God, I'm a fucking idiot. Never mind. I'm just like, I'm just like, yeah, like this kid doesn't. It's just like, okay, you know, you've done the same thing over and over and gotten the same result. Can you do different, kid? And like maybe that's just, you know, I'm expecting too much realism from this TV show, like, because again, it's very wonderfully done at like portraying grittiness, but not like making it so gritty that it's like hard to look at. You know, and but I think it was just it just did get a little bit frustrating because it was like it didn't seem like there was a lot of growth from this character. And it was also just, it seemed really unrealistic, like just because she was being coddled a lot, you know? Like I said, like kids in those situations like are very adaptable. Like you have to be if you're going to survive. So like, you know, if you're a frozen rabbit all the time, like, you know, either learn to run or you die. So I don't know what I was getting at with this, but it was just a little bit frustrating with like the whole like, you know, all this happens, you messed up, you know, you didn't mean to, but you messed up. Your sister gets mad, leaves, and then like, you know, she's just like, I Angie, no talk me, and then the sister, the creepy guy is like, okay, little child, let's go and destroy everything for whatever nefarious reason I have.
I guess like I just found it weird that this was the moment where she decided to like stand up for herself, because I thought she would go the route of like, you know, kind of a hostage, like coerced into that position, and then she becomes a manipulated person under
That's what control. I thought. I thought that it was going to be like a Mufasa Scar like I thought it was going to be like that situation where Scar is like, it's your fault. Your father's dead and your sister left you. This is all your fault. If you come with me, then blah, 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 blah. That's kind of what I thought he was going to convince her. I didn't think that this was going to be her choice, I guess.
Well, like I don't know if he heard or knew that she was the one that dropped the bomb.
Yeah.
So maybe he's just like, ooh, convenient child that I know is related to like these other people. I'll take this. You know, like I understand like why where the frustration is coming from, but I'm also like totally willing to admit that I don't see any other better way that this could have played out. And it is very expertly done. I'll also comment on the artwork that it's pretty fantastic, though it does kind of get hard to watch after a little bit. Like my eyes started hurting just because of like the way the animation looks, but it is very beautiful.
Yeah, okay, so comment again. So part of it is you're saying that like, how do I explain this? I don't. To me personally, I think having it where he like manipulates her right in the moment. Personally, I feel like that would have been less interesting, than what happened, because I feel like it is sort of what you expect. And I will say again, as you keep watching, it goes both ways. It's complicated. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really
okay, I am gonna say so. Episode 4 is like a 5-year time jump.
Okay.
And so there's some that people are in a bit of a different position than when you leave them off here. But yeah, visually it does look very, very good. In terms of the, just how again, I'm sure it was extremely expensive to make the visuals the way they are, and it's not super obvious yet, but later on they kind of have like, I'm sure there's a better way of describing this that I just don't know. But they kind of like have like Spider-Verse animation, in a sense, where they sort of kind of blend like sort of 2D and 3D together. I don't know if you noticed, but for example, I think pretty much every time there's like smoke, or most times there's fire, it's like 2D animated smoke or fire.
I noticed that.
Yeah, but there's other examples of that happen later. There's one fight scene in particular that I want to say is like episode 8, I think. That's very stylized. So,
yeah, the animation was really good. I had heard good things about the animation. That was like the other thing that I had known. And the soundtrack, which is also pretty, like, I remember like how the Jinx trailer and I think the V trailers both sounded, and they carried that over very well in this in terms of the vibe and everything. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, the songs do sound pretty similar actually to that.
Yeah, it just has a really good sense of style in terms of what it's going for, and it feels like Piltover versus the Undercity, of course, feels completely different from each other, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like you're in like it's the same show though, even though it's like the vibe is very different, which is a good thing to manage. I am going to be curious. Again, you haven't like seen the end of season 1, but this is a season 1. There is going to be more of it, although I think they implied that season 2 wouldn't. They're going to take their time, basically. Let's put it that way. So I am curious, like, where they're going to go with this, because there are so many fucking characters in League, and like so many different like settings, from what I understand. So I'm kind of curious, like, are they going to branch out like a lot more, or are they going to sort of just stick with kind of like the story they're telling now? I'm just kind of curious how that's going to go. But
I'm like super lost with the Jace storyline. I don't know where it's going.
There's not a ton of that done right now. That definitely is much more of this next 2 parts. They do tie together, but
it goes okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is kind of interesting, but like, why?
It's kind of like, what does this have to do with the other thing that's happening?
They do tie together, and well, I'm not going to say anything more than that.
Yeah. One thing I do want to bring up that I know you had told me was kind of the upside of this show is like that it is an animated show that is not a cartoon and is not just crude humor.
Yeah.
I can really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like the cynical part of me is like, all right, when it's not crude humor, it like has to be grimdark. That's just like the only two genres that adults seem to enjoy. That being said, it's very well done. It's not like half-assed, ugly animation. It's very beautiful and like it's very well done. And you know, because like, how could you ever express all of kind of the effects and like the feeling of the world, you know, through like a live action production?
If
You
this
That would be
can't.
nearly,
Cannot.
yeah,
if this was live
that would be
action, it would
nearly
be worse.
impossible.
Yeah.
Like, you know, which is why something like this like works so perfectly, you know, especially when you're adapting something like League of Legends where it's, you know, where you have to have like, you know, slums and cities and tech and, you know, magic and all this stuff, and like working in that medium is just really cool. Just the fact that it feels like a moving painting, you know, kind of like the really old like the old Disney moving paintings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really gives that vibe.
I really like this style of animation.
Mm-hmm.
Like we saw it first in Spider-Verse and now we see it again here, and I'm like, I hope that we see more of this.
Yes,
where it's like
please make more, because adults need to stop being so phobic of watching a moving cartoon picture. Like they really need to stop and like grow up. Like grow up and watch a cartoon, please.
Yeah, okay, so two comments about that. One is there is another, well, it's a movie that actually has kind of similar vibes, not vibe, but like again, kind of blending that sort of the 2D effects on top of the 3D stuff. Again, I'm gonna just call it Spider-Versing because I don't know what else to call it. It's and I actually mentioned this in our 2021 discussion that we did. It was the Mitchells versus the Machines. Tone very different, but it kind of has similar animation stuff in it. So if you're curious about that, then you can check that out. Also on Netflix. But yeah, I definitely, the fact that it is again a show that this is an animated show that is not for kids, but it's not like a Family Guy clone, and that's it's very appreciated a lot. Because again, basically, it's like either you're like a cartoon for kids, you're a Family Guy clone, or it's anime, and like those are your three options. And it's like, so finally it's like something else. And again, like there's this very, a lot of people watch this and a lot of people really like it, so hopefully, you know, this does continue. This does kind of, you know, push a trend for stuff, and it does make me wonder, like, you know, is there other like video game kind of things that could work for something like this?
My first thought was actually like if they did something like this for AFK Arena, that would be fantastic. Like they have AFK Arena.
I haven't heard of that.
It's
it's an app.
It's a mobile thing. That's all I know about it.
Yeah, it's a mobile app game, but like they've got like a really crazy big world, a lot of characters, a lot of backstory building. Like it's insane. It's actually super well done. And they do have like, you know, their own like fake like little anime trailers, and like they do have animations associated with it. So I feel like, and people have been saying like this would make a great show. So I feel like something like that would be super cool if it was translated. I'm sure this isn't the only game. There's probably a lot of games with like really detailed stories and you know, characters and stuff, and like stuff that's really fascinating that like you'd like to see. You'd like to see the characters interact in the world.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hopefully that's a precedent, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. For example, I know League has like lore, but I'm not sure. Like, for example, is the story of Arcane something that is in like League lore? I have no idea, right? From what I gather, I don't think so, because I think that there are some characters in here that were just made for the show. One of which actually, I think Silco is just for this show.
That makes sense.
So
I think
it'd be in that case, then no. But again, I know there is some lore to some degree, but I just don't know what it is. But yeah, I'm definitely thinking, because especially shows like this where you have a bunch of characters that have very clear defined personalities and there is like a lore to it, then you can sort of make your own plot from that, which I think could work well here. The thing that immediately jumped to my mind was Overwatch. That said, Blizzard's kind of got a lot of problems right now, so yeah. But besides that, again, like I'm thinking, you know, a lot of this is something that's kind of has already happened for some games, but a lot of like RPG kind of games, I feel like they could, if you just want to sort of adapt the story into like a show, you could do that pretty easily. I know, like you know, like
Tales.
like, well, some already do, like Persona games already have animated
Yeah.
versions of them, so you know, something like that could work. And like again, my immediate thought is like, you know, Xenoblade, but yeah, this idea of having, you know, that's kind of a different thing than what's happening here, where you're sort of making your own story from established characters. And again, besides like a game like this, yeah, I'm not really sure what else could work super well.
Not Maple Story.
Oh god, I don't even fucking know the lore of MapleStory anymore, man. Shit's whack.
Shit's whack.
Final Fantasy, I guess, could be also a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I mean, I would say, like, you know, again, a game that has like characters with defined personalities, but like you could definitely kind of do whatever you want to make a story out of them. I'm like, you know, Mario, but we're getting the fucking Illumination movie, so that doesn't goddamn work. Voiced by fucking Chris Pratt. Shoot me in the goddamn balls.
Oh god, fuck no.
No, the worst part is that apparently Chris Pratt, there's a Garfield movie that Chris Pratt is also going to voice Garfield too. And I'm like,
Rest in peace, Quentin Reviews.
Oh my god.
I'm just like, Chris Pratt is not the voice that
No,
I would think of for
it's
Mario
not.
or Garfield.
He's gonna make both of them sound like douchebags.
Oh my god. Like, here's I know that like Mai, you don't like this character, but he fucking fits Star-Lord because that's his
because
character.
he's a douche canoe.
Yeah, so like it works.
Douche canoe.
But not fucking
That's
Mario.
delightful.
It's just
No. He doesn't fit Mario or Garfield.
no.
And even Mario and Garfield are completely different characters from
Yeah.
one another, but Chris Pratt is not either of them.
Literally
either.
just
He's not even
imagining
gonna do the Mario voice.
just
What a
imagining
fake
Star-Lord just fucking saying I hate Mondays. I'm just like, I hate this. Like, no. You just stop.
I hate Mondays. I hate you.
Oh my god. Anyway,
Can you
let's not
imagine
talk
him
about Chris
trying
Pratt
to-
anymore. I don't want to devote any more time talking to him about him in this.
$5
discussion.
says in like 5 years you're gonna end up watching that movie.
Probably, actually, but shut up. Yeah. So,
I'm curious to see more,
okay.
but just the last line. That last line.
Is it bad that my brain was immediately like, you ungrateful little shit?
No. I mean, I don't like children either.
I think it's a little bit different.
I mean, I'm an older sister, so I fucking understand.
I'm also an older sister, so I also understand. You go through a lot of stuff as an older sibling.
Ugh. Are we still recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh
never
wait,
mind.
Valen, aren't we doing the special thing next time?
Oh yeah, we are. I forgot about that. Okay. Yeah. Good. Thanks for reminding me. I was literally thinking of that, but I'm like, that's later, and I'm like, wait, no, it's not.
No, it ain't.
Okay. Do we have anything else to say about this before we talk about that?
Chris Pratt is a douche canoe.
Let's not say anything about this.
Absolute ass wagon.
Oh my god.
Can you imagine him trying to say that he's obsessed over spaghetti?
I hate this. I hate everything about this.
It's me, Mario.
Stop talking about Chris Pratt.
Oh, that's just a controversial opinion.
Stars. Mario actually has to collect stars.
Fucking dying.
Valen's gonna kill himself.
I'm gonna Pratt myself.
I'll make him pasta later. That'll make him feel better.
No, you gotta make him spaghetti.
Stop me. I'm being bullied.
Sounds like I never should have mentioned the Mario
God
movie.
damn. You know what? Okay,
See, aren't you
hold
glad
on.
you didn't have siblings?
Oh. Wait, when is that actually coming out? No, I need to know.
I think Valen and I count as like surrogate siblings.
Yeah, you guys are pretty much siblings.
No, not this one. Okay.
Wrong Mario movie.
December 21st. It's gonna ruin Christmas.
The end of this year. It's just like, wait, no, it's just like how cats were in 2019. Fuck.
No! Do not speak of that name.
If you bring up Chris Pratt 18,000 times, I can bring up cats once. That's the law of equivalent exchange.
Can we talk about Space Satan?
What? No.
What?
See, now look what you've done. You've gotten everyone confused, and now I'm going to fucking talk about Space Satan, which is not relevant at all to anything.
We're watching Spider-Man next time, okay?
Oh my god. Editing this is just a pain in the ass. Yes, we're watching specifically Spider-Man No Way Home since it comes out on VOD before the 2 weeks from now. Well, tomorrow, whatever. So yes, we're watching Spider-Man No Way Home. I've seen it in theaters. These dinguses haven't, and Julie probably won't watch it because you haven't watched any other Spider-Man stuff.
I'm ready to get emotionally destroyed.
Even unlike what happened just now.
Yeah, I was not well, I should have been ready. The moment I saw father figure, I was like, sign me up for pain. It's my fault for simping father figures.
I will say, I think
He's on the mommy list.
It's on the mommy list.
I think I said during our 2021 discussion that I said, I predict Mai will cry at least twice.
Oh no.
So that was one time.
Well, no, during Spider-Man.
Oh.
During the singular Spider-Man
Yes,
movie,
just during No Way Home, I predict you will cry at least twice.
At least? Shit!
We gotta get the box of tissues ready.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's 2 weeks from, well, again, tomorrow. What is it? Fucking 28th? Yeah, March 28th. Spider-Man No Way Home.
Spooderman.
Spadoodle Man! And Chris Pratt is not in the fucking movie.
Thank God. Fuck him. I hope he dies. Star-Lord, that is. I hope he dies.
We still have Guardians 3.
I'm not watching it. I will not. I'm not watching it. Goodbye.
But Thor will be in it.
Oh, you're right.
No. Well, no. Thor. We have the Thor 4 first, and then Guardians 3 is. We're not fucking talking about this anymore. God damn it! I'm ending this recording. Fuck all of you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.